Scientific research papers follow the same basic structure, whether they be papers from the natural or social sciences. The first part of this five-part structure is the introduction. In the introduction, researchers literally introduce the concepts in their paper, make an argument for why their topic is worth studying, and explicitly state the purpose of their study. The second part is the literature review. As you would guess from the name, this is where all the literature relevant to the study is reviewed. This means that the authors read what other scholars have published in peer-reviewed journal articles about the variables they're studying, and write a summary of what's been learned in the last 10 years, as well as any seminal research that predates the last 10 years. The literature review is also where any research questions and hypotheses are introduced. Third, in the method, the details for how the study was conducted are overviewed. In papers in the social sciences, this typically includes an overview of the subjects studied, which are normally people or participants, the procedures for collecting data from those participants, and an overview of the instrumentation, meaning what is known about the validity and reliability of the measures used within the study. Fourth, in the results section, the analysis of the data collected is overviewed, giving specific, concise results. Finally, in the discussion, the technical results are broken down into more easily digestible terms for the audience. These findings are also applied to the literature to talk about how research can be enhanced with this knowledge, how practitioners might use this knowledge, and how the study might be replicated with more specificity because of what was learned through conducting the current study. This week, you're being asked to write a rationale for a study. A rationale is sometimes the last section of a literature review. Authors have two options for where to embed hypotheses or research questions within a paper. After the introduction of a paper, you'll notice that you begin seeing headers with variable names. An author may choose to embed research questions and hypotheses within the literature review when it makes sense to present them to the author. For example, if within the literature review they explicitly state an argument for a particular hypothesis, then they can insert it where that argument is made. And they can continue to pepper the literature review with these hypotheses. The second option is that research questions and hypotheses are saved to the end of the literature review. The literature review is written in its entirety, giving the audience everything they need to know about the variables being studied. And then the literature review ends with a rationale section. In that rationale section, all of the key points from the literature review are reviewed, stated once again for the audience in a concise manner that makes an explicit argument for the hypotheses, or concisely reveals what is unknown in the literature so that research questions can be proposed. This week, you're being asked to write a rationale rather than an entire literature review. Now, this does mean that you're going to have to do quite a bit of reading on all of your variables, but you're only going to have to review and write out for us findings from your readings that argue for the research question or hypothesis you're proposing.